Faithful, deluded. I'm back again. Special guest settings. I've got ZAH in the building. We've got a lot to discuss. Actually, as I was going live, my guy, how are you? My screen actually on the other screen just closed, so I ain't got my questions to hand. So yeah, man, how you doing? Well, I'll get it back on screen.
It's so funny. You must have noticed that I got in later than I usually do. I literally got in at 9:30. I'm fighting with StreamYard for some reason. It won't take my mic through here. It's doing it through the camera. So I'm hoping the
So
background noise isn't too crazy, bro. But
you're
apart
all
from that,
right, man.
I'm
It
doing all
seems
right,
like
man. Arsenal stressing me out.
how they stressing you out. Let's kick off there, man. How? Why?
It's
What?
okay. So it's not stress. Stress out is a bad word. They're disappointing me. They're disappointing me, man.
Yeah,
It's we
definitely let us know. Share your thoughts, man, because I'm
we
hearing
we
a
we
lot of
we
words, stress and
we're
disappointment and all these things.
yeah, it's I don't know how I should be feeling right now, right? So in reality, right, if you look at it, if you take a step back, just look at where we are, it's an okay start. It's an okay start. But the actual reality of the situation, I mean, leading 2-1 Liverpool, we give away the goal in what was like the 80 something minute to Salah, the mistake well, it was Martinelli left the ball behind first initially, so everyone was out of position. And then Lewis Skelly, who I love by the way, young kid, he'll learn. Brother, if you're gonna tell Kivio move, you better get back, because he communicated move. I am going to get back and get to Salah, but guess what? He wasn't able to get back to Salah. And then Kivio now looks like an idiot, and everybody's killing him because now he's caught in no man's land. When Lewis Skelly told him to move, I can get back, but Lewis Skelly wasn't able to do that. Then boom, too. So it's that's what's pissing me off, is we're coming so close, and then people are running these narratives because of the results, not
What
actually
what
looking at the
narrative?
situation. So the
I know what you're
question when
talking
you
about, but for someone who don't.
the question in the title is the one it got me thinking a lot. Is Arteta too defensive? So
Is he?
if yeah, I honestly I don't think so. There's different ways to attain a result in a football game. There's different ways to win football games. And if you ask Arsenal fans, I don't think Arsenal fans, with that whole defensive thing, I don't think Arsenal fans are the ones. Sorry, is that a bit too loud? Is that coming through the? Is it
You're
coming
good,
through the
man. You're
speaker?
good. No,
Through the mic?
no,
Sorry,
I can't
my
hear
bad.
anything until you said that and drew attention to it. Nah, no one can hear
Oh,
anything.
whoopsies. Sorry. But
You're
yeah, no,
good, man.
Arteta, he, uh, he, 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 people. So yeah, so the defensive thing. So people, because of the narrative, because of how results have turned out, are saying that we're too defensive. I don't think Arsenal fans are mad about if we're getting results. I don't think Arsenal fans will be mad about how we play or not. It's the loud haters that show up, to hate watch and all that, and look for things to harp onto. So, for example, if we had seen that game out 2-1, it's a completely different story. But because Liverpool equalized, all of a sudden, it goes from whatever the narrative was meant to be, Arsenal fought hard and all that, to, oh, is Arsenal defensive? If they weren't defensive, they would have been able to score more. If they scored more, they would have beaten Liverpool. Now, because they were too defensive, Liverpool were able to get back into the game and
Said
all
that
that.
about us
So
with
it's
City last year as well. The goalpost forever shift.
home, exactly. So the City game too. If we were able to hold on to that lead that we had instead of draw right at the end, again, the conversation is completely different to what's it called. So I'm not buying into this whole is Arteta too defensive nonsense. I don't think so. I think we haven't been able to close out games. We've gotten unlucky in the 50-50 decisions. I mean, if we're being honest, neutral 50-50s, I
Should have
one
definitely had a
some
corner at the end of the game. I understand the handball
that
and maybe the penalty, but not to give us that
I
last minute
even
corner.
that, bro. Even that,
Crazy.
I'm not hearing the handball, brother. That's on the shoulder. That's right. That was on the part that attaches the shoulder to the arm, so you
He
can
already blew before it even took place as well. So
give your foul. Like what was that? Because Saboslai decided not to jump. It's not a foul. So man, it's that diluted. It's those little things and people yapping on the internet. I hate the internet. I really do hate the internet. It's people yapping on the internet. Those little things that have me wound up about this whole Arsenal situation, my bro.
I think you're right, Zach. Man, because in the sense of I think people are dishonest. I think the goalposts always shift. I
Mm-hmm.
try and tell Arsenal fans, stay. There's obviously some logical people on the internet, but generally speaking, for everyone, it's hyper opinions. It's, we live in a black and white world in the sense of Arsenal have done amazing or we've done bad. But I do want to ask you, even though I agree with you, I think we can't have it both ways. If I don't care about entertaining the neutrals. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, if we beat Liverpool, the narrative ultimately, to a degree, for common people is subjective to the result, right? I think there's a correlation with maybe not so much this season, because I actually don't think we've hit our heights defensively, defending from set pieces, just our whole general defensive outlook. But there has to be a correlation with that, with clean sheets and all of that, and ultimately picking up more points on the board. I'm unhappy to not beat Manchester City away from home in the last 2 seasons, a bit like with Liverpool. But if you can't win, don't lose. And what I mean by that is, if we were to fly forward and go and do what we're doing, they would have called us naive. Now, I do agree with the logical questions, and I do think Mikel Arteta, as the season's gone on, is probably, I get it because there's injuries and all of that, but I do think he's probably a bit too defensive. I think at times in the final third, we could be a bit more unpredictable and do a bit more. Although saying that, though, if you look at the Liverpool game, I think with all the connotations going into it, for me personally, we actually did quite well. First half, I watched the game twice. First half was quite great. Second half, a bit like the Shakhtar game, I do think we went into our shell a bit. Mikel Arteta said we lacked courage, but ironically, the one time in the second half we kind of really gambled, that's where Lewis Skelly's played that pass. Martinelli's lost the ball. Trent's done what he's done. As you said earlier, Lewis Skelly, Kivior, Benjamin White were kind of disjointed and at 6s and 7s, and they've ultimately scored. So I do think we could do a bit better in the final third. I do think that's what Mikel Arteta needs to do. Obviously, in the last 2 years, when you look at goals, we've scored a lot more goals, but I do think our problems are we need to probably get back to those massive standards we set defensively and just creating a bit more chances. But I think a lot of it is psychological. It's not the same as last season, but it feels like that. It feels like there's a handbrake.
Let me ask you this on the two defensive thing. Do you think that it's being what's the word, accentuated? It's being made to look more, being made to look worse or more than what it is because of our lack of production up front. I mean, if we're being honest, we haven't been at our creative best. We going forward, our guys, we've had guys out. Odegaard's been out. Our creativity isn't flowing. Do you think that because we're lacking in that department and we ain't creating that many clear-cut chances and scoring that many goals, that side of our game, the defensive side of our game, is being highlighted? And because I guess we've upgraded and we are good defensively, we've got good defenders. That's why it's coming across that way. Do you think that has something to do with it? Maybe.
I think naturally, if you're Mikel Arteta, like you can't replace what Odegaard gives you defensively and offensively. So naturally, especially when you're going into a team like Liverpool, you want to be better defensively. You want to say, come and break us down. You don't want to, create too many opportunities for them on the transition. Let's be honest, Liverpool didn't really create much. Now, obviously, it was a fantastic ball that led to the corner. Exactly. Like they got the corner, they done that for the large majority of the game. It's just long ball, spam ball. We kind of presented them with their goals. And what I don't like is, listen, take nothing away from Onslaught and Liverpool. They're flying high. They can't control the narratives and the conclusions drawn about them. But if you flip it and we say we was playing Liverpool and I think we're making a lot of these injuries, but we had all these injuries. We haven't played anyone. I think the narrative and the talk would be very different. I personally think the goalposts move with Arsenal. I think, had we been very good going forward, they'll say we need to improve defensively. I do think, though, I do like how Mikel Arteta has set us up, but I do think we could get a bit more out of us in the final third, man. I just think it's the goalpost. Like, there's always going to be something to talk about. Like, and we're no different from Manchester City. We've seen Manchester City be told they're too defensive, they're boring. So I don't try to take stock in the media kind of talk, but I think there's a lack of honesty, really. I don't think we're praised for how we nullified Liverpool's midfield, considering going into the game, that's the one area. Liverpool had to come from behind twice, bro, with all of these injuries. And I'm sure they could sit there and say they presented the goals to us, but we also presented them to them. So I think it's one where we're not getting enough praise for what we should be praised about. And I do think defensively we could do a bit more. I want to ask you about a couple of individuals, man. This is 2 games last week. Lewis Skelly jumped off the bench ahead of someone like Zinchenko. Do you think Zinchenko's over with at Arsenal? Do you think he's lost the trust of Mikel Arteta?
This was like Eddie. He's getting the Eddie treatment, where Eddie was first off the bench last season, beginning of last season. Then all of a sudden Trossard started cooking, and then I don't know what happened with Arteta and Eddie. Eddie started moving lower. Havertz also caught form.
You almost forgot he was at the club.
yeah, it's not looking good for Zinchenko, and unfortunately for him, in his area is one of the areas where we have enough resources where he cannot afford to not do what Arteta wants. Do I think we could have made use of Zinchenko in this run of how many games have we played? In this run of 9 games that we played,
Quite a
do I
lot,
think he
man.
would have
He
been
probably
useful
starts
here
today,
and
to
there?
be fair.
He should be starting today. I think he could have been useful in the other games that we played, bro. His passing between the lines is still money. He's still cash in terms of on the ball stuff.
Do you think
Breaking
Arteta
the
cares
lines
about
and
that now, though? Because it's kind of on brand with us getting better defensively, maybe being devil's advocate. Mikel Arteta trying to solidify us defensively. You can't really be a great defensive team with someone who's not great defensive, surely.
That's a good question, and I think that does hurt him because of what he plays, that role requiring him to invert hurts him because of the defensive aspect. Do we need his qualities in the squad? Yeah, we kind of have them a little bit in Partey. It's he. I don't think in that aspect of breaking the lines type of part passing, Partey is good, but I think Zinchenko is just another level. Do I think Arteta cares? He should. He should. Because it's we aren't creating. We aren't creating. We aren't scoring 4 or 5 goals, 4 or 5 goals a game. Now, if we were doing that with the current setup, then all right, Zinchenko off to the birds. But the fact that we were getting into spots where we're not killing off games, and it's 2-2. It's 2-2 at the Emirates against Liverpool in the 84th minute, 85th minute. Maybe Zinchenko could have provided that one ball that unlocks Liverpool and puts us over. So I do I think he still has a role to play. He has that unique quality where he's elite. He's you know what? For me, I had a very tough, very difficult relationship with Mesut Ozil, where I liked him because his passing was unbelievable, his creativity was unbelievable. But then it's that's one less person. When you lose the ball, that's one less person that's interested in defending, kind of thing.
Especially in
And
the
that's
modern day.
exactly, and that's the box that I'm in with Zinchenko, where I love his progressive passing. I love what he does for us, moving the ball from back to front. However, once Luis Diaz kind of picks that ball up unknowingly, and he's caught in that midfield position, and he has to go back into that left back position to go cover the Luis Diaz attack. That's where me and Zinchenko become enemies.
Why do you think Lewis Skelly is ahead of him then? Like, if for devil's advocate, like, why do you think he's come off the bench ahead of him in a game like Liverpool, where really and truly, he, in comparison to Zinni, he's extremely inexperienced, and it is a makeshift defense. You've got Benjamin White back at centre half. You've got a centre mid in Thomas Partey playing right back. You've got Kivior, who's he is a centre half, but played more at left back than at centre half for us. So surely in a game like that, Zinchenko, having whatever you say about him, like you said, got personality, been at Manchester City, been in these environments, as one of our most experienced players in terms of aspiring for a title. Like, why do you think it's Lewis Skelly over him? Like, do you think he's
National
more
team captain.
disciplined? Hmm?
I was like national team captain too.
Even
Defending
that as well,
captain.
that
Yeah.
adds to it. Like, why do you think Lewis Skelly's preferred? Like, which again, not to be disingenuous to Lewis Skelly, because big him up, we can all see he's got a good future, but he's an inexperienced player. Zinni's kind of been there, done it, wore the t-shirt, on big money, a leader. If in terms of his CV, he's done what we're aspiring to do as an Arsenal fan base, win titles, etc. But like, why do you think Lewis Skelly is ahead of him? What appears ahead of him?
I got two guesses. Two guesses for you here. So I first guess, I'm guessing it's got to do, and I'm thinking this is the reason. It's got to do with the injury. It's got to do with the injury. And I think that's the only logical reason that
But how
I mean,
far
and
does
I'm
that
not
go?
hating. I
How
love
far does that
I
go, Zard, though? Because he's been
what's
on the
up?
bench a couple of times now. Like, how far does the
That's the
injury thing go?
thing.
Being
That's the
devil's
thing.
advocate,
That
I don't
that's
think you're wrong
that
though.
so that's the thing. So I think maybe injury has a part to do with it, and unfortunately, because we don't know and we never know, Arteta's done a whole thing where he's emphasized on getting rid of the leaks of who leaks news coming out of the training ground and all that. So it's been airtight in Arsenal. Maybe something has happened. Maybe something has. That's the only logical. That's the only logical thing. So it's either injury, his injury is bad and they really trying to, work him in and all that. But then again, he has been on the bench. He hasn't even, bro. That's the thing. That's the weird thing about the Zinchenko thing is he hasn't even been coming on for garbage minutes. He has
This is
not
it.
been coming on for garbage minutes. So honestly, I don't know. It's either injury or most likely, I think something did happen. Something did happen at the training ground. It's got to do with his training because logically, again, I mean, what can you? I mean, Skelly's younger. I guess he maybe has just a bit more to him physically than Zinchenko, but that's about it. Every other aspect, I mean, in that left back role, Lewis Skelly isn't even a left back too. He's learning that role.
It's
He's
like
literally
Maitland
just
Niles
got moved.
V2 and big up Lewis Skelly because he's doing great at it, man. And he look for
Yeah.
me, obviously you can tell he's 17, 18. He ain't played, but quote unquote, you can't see it. I think the temperament more than anything, like, and that's what I think it is with Mikel Arteta. I just personally think Mikel Arteta is trying to train Lewis Skelly. I think a bit of what you said, it could be an injury. I do think Zinchenko, you've lost the trust of Arteta, and I just think, simply put, clearly Lewis Skelly is trusted a bit more defensively than you really and truly. Like Zinchenko's a fire waiting to happen, essentially. Although I do think there is a lack of balance generally around Zinchenko with the fan base. I do think for all his faults, there is a use for him. That being said, though, bro, he's contracted until 2026. I don't know how much money he's on, but you'd imagine he's nearer the higher end. He is on the more experienced side. Yeah, like, do you think his days are numbered at the club? Because even now, when you deep it, he's only played 70. I'm looking at it now. He's played 70 times for Arsenal, which deceivingly, that tells me you've not been available a lot of times.
That's over 3 years.
Yeah, like
that's been with us for what, 3 seasons, right?
Yeah, that's not that much, essentially.
Listen, if I'm Edu, I'm not renewing his contract. It's and that's no. Do I think he has a use in this current squad? Absolutely. Do I think he catches a bad rep because of non-footballing things that he's involved in? That then because of the anger towards that then gaslights your opinion on him for footballing wise, even though that stuff has nothing to do with it. That's the short end of the stick that he gets. We can't have guys on 100 because he's one of those 150 plus £150,000 plus a week kind of guys. You can't have that kind of salary sitting on the bench. A guy like that should be starting. So if I'm Arteta, this is last contract. I'm not renewing his contract. And another one that I'm kind of confused with. It's all of a sudden contract year, and my man is balling out. Partey is another one that I'm confused. What do I do with that contract too? I don't know what the hell to do with that one.
I have to ask you. I mean, I've offered my thoughts. Zinchenko in midfield, especially with Odegaard being out.
I wouldn't hate seeing it. I wouldn't. You know what? Today is the best game to try that. Today,
in theory, I mean, Preston are not small fries, but in theory it is.
So that's the thing, right? Is that you won't really get a real, and this is no disrespect to Preston, but unfortunately, let's be real. They know Liverpool, they know Manchester United, they know Chelsea, they know West Ham, and that's not me being disrespectful, but you at least get a glimpse. You at least get a glimpse to see how the team looks, feels, and all that. And I've always, when he struggled at that left back position, and when we've also struggled, like right now during this period where we're struggling creatively, I've always wondered why he's been at the club for 3 years. Why have we never tried it within that 3 years? The guy literally plays. That's where he's played his entire life. He's a central midfield. That's where he plays for. He's the captain of Ukraine playing in central midfield. Why have we never tried that? Ever?
There's got to be something in that, though, Zah, man, because I think you're right. I definitely feel there's been games you could try him. But, if I be devil's advocate and you look at Pep Guardiola, as you know, he's achieved everything there is in the game. Mikel Arteta hasn't quite done that, but, he's being held in high regards for everything he's doing. I'd love to sit them both in the room and say, what is it you lot don't trust about Zinchenko organically in midfield? Personally, I think it's a case of two things. I just think if you go to sleep at left back, you can't go to sleep in the modern day. I think he'd be too much of a liability on the transition. And I think where you look at Mikel Arteta, how he deploys, Declan Rice pressing high up the field, Odegaard the same. I just think they don't fancy Zinchenko in the modern day like that. Now, of course, technical level, just in terms of organically with that role, I think, yeah, Zinny could do that. I'd play Zinny left back today just because I would like to give Benjamin White and Timber the night off. So for me personally, Lewis Skelly will go right back because if you can play left back, being a right foot, you can play right back. I'd put Zinchenko at left back. Probably have to rely on Saliba and Kivior. And, you know, if Timber and these kind of players are on the bench, you probably just hoping that they just get a half an hour or something of that ilk. So I don't know what it is with Zinny, bro.
You brought something up that triggered a thought. You said something that triggered a thought in my brain. Maybe it honestly is what so I don't know about with Pep, but with Arteta, maybe it's what he's requiring his 8 to do defensively. Can Zinchenko press high? Can he press high up the field
consistently as well?
Can he press with it? That's what. Yeah, that's another. Can he press high up the field with consistent intensity for the 90 minutes? You know, that's maybe why he's just never, because in that left back slot, how they play him, he's not really pressing. He's running back into position to get into that left back from the inversion slot when we lose possession. So it's not. He's doing the opposite. So maybe that's it. He's just not he's not a presser. He's not a presser, and both of them want their guy. Both of them want their guy in the 8, Pep and Arteta, and the guy in the 8 and the 10 to be able to press high.
Could you argue that? And this kind of, because big up Peckham, because this kind of is on brand. Yeah, I think Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, this is the role they should have been in. Now, obviously, their individual form, me and you have spoken about. Every Arsenal fan's got their opinion in relation to Gabriel Jesus, who I think had a better performance in the cameo against Liverpool and against Shakhtar, but the bar's on the floor. I personally think they're in the role that we should have had them in anyways. And I hear what you're saying, and I agree about the money and things like that. But surely if we keep progressing, we're going to get into a role where people on 100, 150, 200K a week and be squad players. I personally feel they are trusted, but they're not trusted to a point. But what do you say to Peckham's question? If Zinny and Jesus can't be trusted or out of favor, why buy them from City? I think that's harsh because I think they changed our fortunes at the times, though. But what do you make of that?
That's exactly what I was about to say, Deluded. I think why did we buy them from City? People, that's a problem with football fans, is you're only as good as your previous game, the last game you played. People forget how good these two guys were the first season they came into us, bro. We had no business being in the mix. People were happy with the Europa League. People predicting Europa League, possibly, maybe sneaking into 4th Champions League beginning of that season 2 years ago. 2 years ago when both of them joined us.
The first year we fought for the title.
Yeah, when both of them joined us from City, then all of a sudden we're in the mix, and our eyes are like, oh, wait, we're leading the thing, we're top of the table. Then Saliba goes down, and then you know how the story went from there. But unfortunately, they literally served their purpose. They transformed our team. They were a major part. Of that initial foundation of setting up the run and all that. And where we made our mistake was maybe we especially in, I don't know not much so in Zinchenko, because I think we addressed that one quick and we moved on from that one. We were just very unfortunate because our solution to moving on to Zinchenko, where he got an ACL injury before he even kicked an actual ball that counted. That was Timber last season. But I think where we made our major mistake was we didn't really upgrade from Jesus properly. That's where we made our mistake, where we didn't really move in the next stage of the process. We went with Havertz was meant to come and play as 8.
Yeah, and it didn't work, and Arteta kind of felt like, I'm not going to be disingenuous to Arteta. Obviously, Kai Havertz scored the winning goal for Chelsea as a striker. Obviously, Arteta knows he's very versatile, and he had that in mind. But I agree with you in that if we cut the crap, we all know Mikel Arteta, he tried to run the Kai Havertz thing in midfield, and it works from time to time, but he's better up front. And, I think it was a fortunate but unfortunate sequences of events in that, Gabriel Jesus got injured. Kai Havertz is taking that opportunity up front and he's flying. Like somebody even said in the chat, whether he pulls out to the right, whether he drops into midfield, evidently he gets goals. I think he's all right. And I just think they're past their sell-by date, if I'm honest with you. It's adapt to survive. I think they're good squad players. But at the end of the day, I think Arsenal have probably accelerated quicker than we've got. And you're in the same position. The players that have continuously got better and better, they've risen stature. Even someone like Martinelli, who I don't want to say he's turning a corner, but his form is a bit more positive, but the lack of goals still continue. Had we have had a left winger, Martinelli might be on the bench. You look at Saka, you look at Odegaard, you look at Gabriel, Gabriel was one of those players that fans always say Mikel Arteta is going to upgrade on him.
Not even have a left winger. We have a left winger. Had Martin Odegaard not gotten injured, Martinelli, we wouldn't have been seeing much of him, I don't think.
And this is the thing. And this is the thing. I do think there's some difficult decisions. On one hand, though, I don't know if there's a reality where, because you can make a case of a lot of players, Tomiyasu, through no fault of his own, just his injuries, Zinni and Gabriel Jesus, we've been speaking on. I've said Tomiyasu, bunch of players that could be Jorginho and Partey that could be moved on from now to the summer. Would you say, Gabriel, where are you at with Gabriel Jesus' time at Arsenal? Like, this comment here says, Jesus has been a disaster of a signing, flop, only 15 goals in his Arsenal career. Has he been a flop? And what would you grade it out of 10?
I've always said this. My beef is, so Jesus gets the unfortunate short end of the stick. He thinks in his head, and he wants to, in his head, play striker, wear the number 9 jersey. He wanted that at City, didn't work out. The guy isn't a striker. The guy is a winger. The guy is a winger. He's a left winger, not a striker. And because he wants to play striker and he declares himself as a striker, if I'm judging him as a striker, he's not a goal scorer. He's a ball carrier. He likes getting the ball, taking people on, and he's just not efficient as a goal scorer. Yeah, he'll knock in some here and there.
He's missed the foreplay. There's no penetration.
Yeah, exactly. He's not that much of a killer. So in that sense, I think if he my thing with Jesus is my thing with Jesus, then again, it's not really my money, but I don't want Kroenke to have any excuse to say, oh, this guy, we can't have a guy on the bench making this much money. My thing with Jesus is his money. But if he is fine competing with Martinelli for that left wing slot, and Arteta acknowledges that he's a left wing slot and does not count him as one on the squad depth chart as a striker, which he I think does right now. He counts him as both, as a.
It's gonna have to. We ain't got no one else unless you want to go down the false 9 route.
So get someone that's an actual striker there. Get him to compete with Havertz. Move. What's his name? Move Jesus to the left to go compete with Martinelli. So him as a winger, I'm fine. If he then declares he's a striker and wants to stay at Arsenal, then that's when I say sell him.
Who do you think's been the better signings, Zinchenko or Gabriel Jesus? Like, all in all, from when they've started to where we are now, who do you think's been the better value for money or the better player?
Yeah.
I can't lie. I actually think it's Zinchenko, on the face of it.
Bro, Jesus' knee injury was unbelievable.
Yeah, the first 6 months from Jesus, amazing. But
Jesus' pre-knee injury was unbelievable.
I never used to say it, but I used to think this reminds me of Brazilian Ronaldo.
I guess there was, what run was that when I forgot what team it was that we played. We were in the pink kit. I think, was it Luton?
It might have been Brighton, Bournemouth, sorry. It might have been Bournemouth when he went on that fantastic run. It might have been Crystal Palace, actually, because
on the left side. Yeah, it might have been at Selhurst Park. I know we were away. I forgot what team it was when he just.
We definitely were in the pink kit.
Bro, center of gravity, just knocking people over. I was like, what? Jesus or Zinchenko? Damn, Zinchenko injury. They both get injured a lot. Jesus's. It might be Zinchenko just.
If I'm honest, I think it's probably been Zinchenko. Like, Zinchenko.
But that first 6 months, that first 6 months, Jesus set us up in that title run, man.
He did. And Gabriel Jesus has done well in big games, but I just think in terms of value for money and probably on a duration thing, Zinchenko's probably been a better signing, if I'm honest with you. Like, I got a lot of hate. I said this Gabriel Jesus signing is going to be no different from Lacazette, and I didn't mean that in a disingenuous way. I felt that it was a bit too. I felt it was Disney. I'll be real. I thought the whole carrot of Gabriel Jesus playing up front for Arsenal, it felt like a bit like Disney Channel in that, I granted if it worked, it's a masterstroke, and it did work for 6 months. You sign him, you play him up front, you give him some confidence. He's got a platform to play up front. He scores goals. That being said, I don't know how old he was when he signed for us, and you can obviously learn how to score goals. I don't want to sound like them old school people, but I genuinely think you're born to score goals. I think you've either got that or not, and I don't think Jesus has that. I think the one difference with him and Kai Havertz isn't a natural goal scorer, but he wants to get in the box, and obviously he's better in the air. So I don't think it worked. I think Jesus should have always just been a squad player, someone that kind of brightens up our life and things. I still think there's a reality where he could be utilized, but I agree with you in that the wages probably means no. Where I say we need to stop looking at wages is we're not going to be Manchester City, but if you want to be a top club, you're going to have first team regulars, squad players on relative wages. I guess it's just about doing your job, because Jesus' stock's on the floor, bro. You're not the first off the bench. Sterling started a couple games off you. You're getting little minutes. Even with Martinelli's woeful form, generally, you still haven't played ahead of him. So whether I rate Martinelli or rate Jesus, why is Arteta doing that? You're not getting anywhere near Bukayo Saka's spot. And then obviously you've got Gabriel Jesus through the middle. And I love Gabriel Jesus. I tried to say he would get 15 league goals. I actually love him at the club. But I have to be honest, you know, the lack of goals is one thing, but it's the impact. Now, I think the Shakhtar game was his best game in a while. And like somebody said, he was good in the Champions League last season, but we're not seeing enough. And for me, where I look at Zinny, where I look at Gabriel Jesus, where I look at Partey, where I look at Declan Rice and Jorginho and the more experienced players, I need something a bit more from everyone. Now, some of those names I said are doing their thing, but yeah, it's a techie one. Where are you at with Tomiyasu? Like, would you sell him next summer?
Yeah,
we know it's nothing to do with ability.
Here's the thing: are we going to be able to sell him next summer? He's one of those that's looking like if I am any club on the planet, I'm not buying that guy. That guy run his contract, and I love him, by the way. When he's on the field, when he's playing, I think Tomiyasu is a phenomenal player. He's one of those defenders that he's so versatile. He literally has everything. I don't know what he is.
Love the guy, man.
He's a phenomenal footballer. I don't know what kind of defender he is. I don't know whether he's a ball playing defender. I don't know whether he's like the aerial kind of presence defender, the ground kind of you can't get past me defender. He literally has a bit of everything. He's complete footballer. It's just the one thing, the one and most important aspect. One and most important aspect of football is what he struggles with. Playing games. He's
being
not on the field,
especially now in this current climate with our injuries.
Yeah, where you're playing 2-3 games, bro. We're playing some days. We're playing Sunday, Wednesday. It's where you're playing.
Say nothing away from Lewis Skelly or Kivio, but you would have loved to have had Tomiyasu in some capacity against Liverpool, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. So him. Are we going to be able to sell him? Again, if I'm any other club looking at him, I mean, you just have to look at the injury record. I'm not gonna fork out a transfer fee for that. You can bring that no risk. I'll go for a no risk move. He'll probably run out his contract, which I'm praying for a miracle. If we can just get a spell, I don't know how far. We didn't get an update. Did we get an update on how he's
doing? Like Arteta, you see, I mean, in this current climate, I'm not trusting what Arteta says on players, but he's saying nothing about Tomiyasu. And Tomiyasu came back against Southampton and got injured. I don't know if maybe he shouldn't have played in that game. I don't know if it's a setback. And I am being harsh to Tommy. I love the guy, but it's got to the point for me. It doesn't really matter. You're not available in it. Like you're not available, and you're a quality player. If you wasn't good, I wouldn't miss you. But it's like you need to. I think where you look at all our fullback options, right? I don't necessarily think. I'm not saying Tomiyasu can't get a run in the team, but I don't necessarily think where you've got Calafiori, Timber, Benjamin White, he's a regular. But he's so good in helping us managing out games. Imagine even the even the City game, you could have been utilized when we just need to defend. I love the guy.
A fit Tomiyasu. I don't know. Maybe I'm to steal your name. Maybe I'm a bit deluded, but a fit Tomiyasu, bro. I think this might be crazy to say. I think he starts for us.
I don't think you're wrong. It's good problems to have. But who does he start over and what side then?
That's the thing. That's the thing with Tommy is that he's so good and he's so versatile. He can pick which side. He can pick.
Yeah, no, for you though. If you're name your strongest back five, I'll help you with 3. David Raya, obviously, Saliba, Gabriel. Now you've got the fullbacks.
It's the wing backs. It's the
everybody fit.
The fullbacks.
Because you got Benjamin White, you got Timber, you got Calafiori, you got Tommy.
So I'll tell you this, right? For the fullbacks, fit everybody cooking.
Yeah, which one you going with?
The
Which
three
one's
that
better?
so Calafiori is out of contention. I just haven't seen it much. I haven't seen enough of it.
Oh, you're harsh.
I
Zara,
didn't
you're
follow. I
harsh on
didn't follow. I,
Calafiori.
I, I didn't follow him in Italy. I've only seen what he's done for Arsenal.
You ain't seen enough in
So,
an Arsenal shirt to think, yo, the left back spot's yours.
so far so good. No, so far so good. So far so good. It's just I've seen more. I've seen more of the other guys. That's the thing. Timber probably just a bit more than I have of Calafiori. But like Ben White, I've seen Ben White. I've seen Tomiyasu. So that's where he. I'm not saying Calafiori is bad, by the way. I think we have. I call me crazy. Fit. They're all raring to go. We have the best fullbacks in the league. We literally have the best fullbacks depth wise. If you ask me,
Collective options. I think we got a case.
Yeah. So Calafiori out of contention from them three. So it comes down to Ben White, Timber, and Tomiyasu.
Yeah, you got to pick two of the three, man.
Sugar and spice. Ben White's got to go right back because he's just been there and he's been consistent and he's been immense. So between Timber and Tomiyasu, I'm sorry, JT. I literally have I've seen less of you than of Tommy. So it just goes off that. Timber is a phenomenal player, but I've just seen more of Tommy. But yeah, ideally all fit. I think Tomiyasu starts ahead of all.
Maybe for me, to be fair, maybe it's shiny new toy syndrome because I think they've all got. I've always sing Tomiyasu's praises. I do think the saddest thing about last season, like obviously where you break down our fullbacks, Tomiyasu in comparison to his teammates, he's not the most wonderful in the final third. That being said, I think he's both-footed. And I think Mikel Arteta keeps saying it. I don't think Tomiyasu fully believes in himself. He seems a bit too humble, and I think he's quite good. For me, it depends what you want. I don't want to get all technical, but yeah, and I think with Tommy, with his recovery pace, with his being switched on, with him in the air, it allows our other players to gamble a bit more in the final third. But that being said, there's just something. I love Calafiori, but there's just something about Timber, man. There's just, for me, Timber always got to be there. And this is the thing I like about Tomiyasu, Timber, Calafiori, even indirectly Benjamin White, in that obviously, if you look at in an attacking sense, Zinchenko's clear of all of them. He's a natural centre mid playing left back, but I don't feel there's too much of a trade off in the final third with obviously them playing, and you couple that with them being stronger defensively than him. We're laughing. We've got some good options. Do you think we'll actually sign another defender? Because I must admit, I agree with you. When everyone's fit, which I think is dangerous, we seem to always think we're right there. But I must admit, in the last couple of games with these injuries, I am thinking, could we deal with another versatile attacker? Could we do with another centre half? You could make a case. We know it's not FIFA and these players might not go, but Lewis Skelly will take a place. But you could make a case of in the summer, Kivior, Zinchenko, maybe Tomiyasu potentially departing. Do you think we'll see another defender from January to next summer?
January, no. Summer we'll have to see what depends. It all depends on who goes, who stays, and all that for the summer. But do I think we need a defender? Absolutely not. I think we're fine. I think we're just unfortunate now, right? It might seem that we're short on defenders. It's literally we're unlucky. It's literally that's where every one of our players.
Apparently, Benjamin White ain't traveled today as well due to load management. Pause.
Oh, to Preston?
Yeah, apparently that's what the ITKs are saying online. I can't verify that. But,
yeah. They saw the team get on the. How far?
Yeah, apparently in travel.
How far is Preston from London? It's close.
That's a bot, man. That's a bot. Preston. That's up north, man. That's at least 3-4 hours or so, or maybe more.
We're traveling day off. Don't we usually?
Yeah, go... Preston's far, bro. Preston.
Don't we usually go the night before?
Probably, yeah. It would make sense. It would make sense. London to Preston. That's a bot, man. I'm sure Preston's it's closer to Liverpool than that. Look, well, Google says 4 hours and 42 minutes. Yeah, Preston.
Damn, that's far.
Preston's past.
Yeah, defensive. We're just unfortunate that's where. I mean, Calafiori's out. Saliba with the suspension. Tomiyasu the injury. Zinchenko was injured. White was injured.
And all of these guys got knocks as well.
Yeah, these are all knocks, niggles, injuries, and all that. So we're just unfortunate that. So it looks like we don't have enough defenders. It's just that's where all our injuries are.
I think you're bang on the money, man. And it's sad because that was the one area. And again, this is why you have depth, because Mikel Arteta spoke about he said in February we've got one of the smallest squads. I don't think we've addressed that. But in pre-season, he kept saying what we did with Gabriel, Benjamin White, and Saliba, it was kind of an anomaly. We need to, get some depth, and that's the one thing we did. But it's fully being tested.
Guys being fit all season, we lucked out, man.
Yeah, we really are testing that area. Let's speak about midfield. In fact, before we get on that, I've been rude. Jonathan, apologies. This question has been up there for a minute. Kai Havertz. It's a weird one because I don't feel it's necessarily the right or wrong decision. But where if we, like what you said, if we assume everybody's fit at this team and like our strongest 11, give or take whoever you want at fullback, but we'll probably agree on the majorities: the Rayas, the Salibas, the Gabriels, Partey, probably Rice, Odegaard, Saka. Depends what you want on the left, but let's just assume Martinelli and Kai Havertz. If you was to break that down and say, how do we get improvement? Now, disclaimer, just because you might want to improve on a player doesn't mean they can't get regular football, hold on to their shirt. If we focus on the front three, unless you can find a player twice the player of Saka, right? Forget about it. Saka's spot is cool. Do you upgrade on Kai Havertz? Yes. Is Kai Havertz stopping us from getting a proper striker?
Yes. Is
that wise from us?
He's a different kind of option, kind of striker. Again, I go back to what I said earlier. What Havertz landed, he landed in that striker position because of what's going on with us. He landed in that striker position because both Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah were not cooking. Jesus was he injured? I forgot what.
He's going through it, and the Trossards and that. Like, I like Trossard as a false nine, but I don't feel these are long-term solutions in Arteta's mind.
He was more of a stopgap.
Trossard you're a rotational player.
So Havertz initially, when he came, he didn't come to Arsenal to play striker. He came to replace Granit Xhaka. He was meant to be that left eight, that role that Merino. We signed Merino because the Havertz thing didn't work out at left eight. So then, because of our lacking in the striking department, because we had a winger playing striker, we had a winger with our number 9 jersey playing striker, kind of thing.
Number 9, man.
Eddie Nketiah, who I love, I mean, the king of under 21 football and all that.
Just weren't levels, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't get the run of games, but that's a story for another day, diluted. But so, because of their lacking in the striking department, we moved Havertz there to try stopgap that situation there. Trossard also worked out, filling in where we had left Havertz, and it just so happened that when we shifted things around, it worked a little bit, got us through that little phase that we needed to get through, and now we're here today. And because of circumstances, again, because we had to move Havertz, the Havertz thing didn't work out. We then had to go address that gap that we thought that we had filled with Havertz in the left 8 with Merino, and that's what then slowed us. I'm assuming that's what then slowed us down in actually addressing the root problem, the number 9 problem. Which
do you think Kai's a stopgap then?
In that number 9 problem?
Yeah, like take nothing away from him because he's one of the first names on the team sheet. But I like the fact that we go long. I like what someone said in the comments. In the last few games, he's pulling out to the right hand side. He's a fighter. Even for me, if we sign a striker, it doesn't necessarily mean Kai Havertz is not going to get football here. I think he's a valued squad member. But is he a stopgap then? Essentially,
do I think he's a brilliant footballer? Absolutely. Do I think he's a stopgap in that striker role? Absolutely too.
Bring Gyökeres like in a circle, saying here, man.
Exactly,
for me,
exactly.
Scored yesterday as well.
It's you bring Gyökeres in, Havertz and Gyökeres are now your 2 options, right? Havertz and Gyökeres are your 2 options. If things then start happening, that's when Jesus can be really down on the depth chart. He can be a 3rd or 4th option. Trossard can be a 3rd or 4th option kind of thing. Those guys like Jesus should not be a primary option. He should definitely not be the number 1 option. Maybe the number 2.
He's a rotation player. Can help us, but you're not the guy we're relying on per se.
Yeah, but yeah. So Havertz, I do think because of what happened with him not working out at 8, it slowed down the process of us getting a striker. And hopefully that's who I'm praying that we're timing up this timeline's timing up to Gyökeres.
Do you think we'll
But
get Gyökeres though? Because United are about
brother,
to get his
that's
manager.
what I was about to say. The second they got freaking
Yeah,
his
like it's
coach, the
looking right.
second
Might
they
have
got
to
his
go back
coach,
for
I got
Vlahovic or
so
something.
angry,
With
dude. I was like,
Sesko.
yo, we might be done. We might be done for Gyökeres.
And they'll probably get the defender we
It's
keep
over.
being linked with
They
Diamande.
have a good and they have a good relation. They I don't know if they still if they're still their feeder club, but let's not forget they have a very good relationship with Sporting. You know, the Ronaldo signing, Nani. You know, they were gonna do the Miguel Veloso. They were gonna do a deal for Miguel Veloso back in the day. It's they have a good Bruno Fernandes, I believe, came from Sporting. They have a very good long-standing relationship with Sporting. So we're cooked. We're cooked for Gyökeres. Let's go find someone else. I don't know if there's anyone else banging in goals like him, but he's the one I wanted, man.
I
He
mean,
is the one I wanted.
I don't really buy it, but I do like the look of Isaac. I know this season he's not firing on all cylinders, and I don't really buy the rumors because you know Newcastle are not doing what they was projected to do. We need a striker, so it's easy to link us with one. But Isaac would be my first choice. Gyökeres for me fits what Arteta wants.
On the Isaac thing, I just saw that what's it called? Saudi is reducing, and maybe that could force the sale for Isaac. Saudi is reducing their funding
I
from
hope that is the case,
Newcastle.
man. Speaking of Saudi, yeah, there was a player that for the last 2 years has been linked with a move to Saudi, and you kind of indirectly alluded to it earlier in that it's the case of in the last season of when they're in their last year
Oh,
of their contract, they're playing well. Now, I think
yeah.
Partey's been quality. He's played good in the last 9. He started the last 9 games. Do you give him a new deal? Because can we go out there and find another Partey? Because you could imagine, obviously, you can scout players and find players for a lot cheaper, but surely you need to pay big money for a blockbuster midfielder in the same vein of Declan Rice. We're surely not going to spend that kind of money, then spend whatever is needed on a striker and whatever else we need to do. Because if it was up to us fans, we get a centre mid, a striker, a winger, probably need a couple of goalies and anything else. Like Thomas Partey, do you give him a new deal?
Listen, deluded. This guy, Partey does my head in, bro. Partey. I love Partey. Partey is one of my favorite in this squad. I think it's probably between him and Gabriel as my favorite player. But the guy is the most frustrating human being on the planet. He's been our best player so far this season. In the 8-9 games that we have played this year, he has been our best player. That Liverpool game at right back, I thought we were in for an absolute disaster because the last time we
Stood up
tried that
tall, man.
stuff, brother, he almost had a perfect game. If it wasn't for that, there was one instance where he got cooked by Diaz.
Yeah,
He
he
got
got
cooked by
cooked.
Diaz and what's his name? Raya almost got nutmeg. That is at the near post.
Maybe could have done better for the goal when he gave away the corner, which
The
I'm not
goal too. The
criticizing. Let,
goal.
let, let Van Dijk go. But other than that, Partey stood up tall, man. I think he actually
The
won the free kick that led to Rice setting up Moreno.
the
So big him
goal.
up.
The goal. The goal. I'm not going to be too harsh on him. The
Yeah,
goal.
no,
I'm
you
not going to
can't
be
be. It
too harsh on him
happens.
because that's off a flick on. Off a flick on, anything can happen. The goal. I'm more on Havertz. Havertz should have gotten to the near post to that. He should have challenged better at the near post. At
Havertz
that
as well.
initial
You're
post.
right, because Diaz
Yeah.
wins the flick on.
That's where that goal came from. I think it was from that Havertz not challenging it well enough in that instance.
What do you make of that as well? We'll continue, but it's 2 weeks in a row we've conceded from corners as well. For a team that's so good defensively, I don't know what's going on.
I'm not too worried. I'm not too that
I
thing.
am, bro.
The Van Dijk goal. The Van Dijk goal. I'm not worried. That was falling asleep. That wasn't anything structural. We were there positionally. Positionally, we were set up correctly. It was Havertz falling asleep near post, and because he fell asleep, off a deflection. Deflections are tough, man. Partey was he was occupied, though he wasn't watching the ball. He at least was occupying Van Dijk. It's not like
It's a
Van Dijk
naughty
had
one
free run.
from Trent as well, man. It's not the best of crosses, but it's a naughty one, like decent pace. He created chaos ultimately, which led to our demise in that moment.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried defensively for our set pieces. But Partey, man, he's been unbelievable. Do we offer him a contract? We wait. Partey, for me, contract wise, I would go, because now he's in his 30s. I'll do the Wenger deals, the Wenger 1-and-1s, the 1 year with an option. But of course, once you get to that 30 mark, he's not going to want
32
that.
next year, I think. on big
He
wages as well. The club might just say, you
would.
know what, it's a chance to maybe you, Jesus Zinchenko, in theory, maybe Jorginho, it's a chance to shed the wages. And maybe that means we're going to go and spend the bag on certain players. Because we do probably need to even, if we look at it from a resource point of view, that money that maybe could be saved off the Parteys, the Zinchenkos, the Gabriel Jesus, surely that could be put towards new contracts, you'd imagine, in the next 18 months for Bukayo, Saka, and Saliba in particular.
Because Partey ain't cheap. Partey ain't cheap. 150, he's north of 150. He's one of those that's north of 150. I think there's still a player in there. I mean, I have a soft spot for him, so I'm very biased. It's the fitness issue. I would put him on. I know we would. There was times with Wilshere. With Wilshere, there was discussions of a pay as you play kind of concept. That is the kind of concept I'd offer Partey. If it's pay as you play, give him 3 years.
What do you make of this comment? Big up yourself, Chenky. Forgive me for mispronunciation. I think this is an interesting way of looking at stuff. Like, it's a bit irrelevant for what he's talking about. He said the reason he's more defensively minded is because his forwards aren't finishing their chances game after game. He has more confidence in his defensive players and therefore plays that way. I personally think he's bang on the money, but being devil's advocate, surely regardless of that, goals win games. So is it a thing where Arteta might reckon, a bit like Ombram with that comment, we'll defend, we'll win our battles, we're kind of just relying on that 1 or 2 chances that we'll get and we have to take it? And is that sustainable, Denzel?
That's kind of along the lines of something I mentioned earlier, that this is being highlighted. The whole defensive side is being highlighted more because we suck offensively. That's the side that we are good at right now. Granted, I mean, we are conceding silly, stupid goals, but we've only how many have we conceded? We've conceded less than 10. Less than 10 in 8 games. Yeah, compared to last season's standards, that's pathetic. But if we're being real, less than a goal a game, that ain't that bad. That ain't that bad. Can it be better? Absolutely. There are teams with way better goal difference than us. But yeah, defensively, they're being highlighted because our offense sucks. And also the manner in which we are dropping points. We're dropping points late in games. So of course the spotlight is going to be on, oh, what happened? Defensive mistake. Late at Man City, Arsenal was going to have their first win in Lord knows how many years at the Etihad. It was going to be a morale thing. So it goes from you're sitting on the edge of that headline, and then that stumbles because of a lapse of defense. So defense spotlight that game. Liverpool, same thing. 80-something minute, you get the which one was first? The corner was first. So you get the Salah goal. Salah goal comes in 80th minute. Defense spotlight again. So it's just been so much spotlight on our defensive mistakes, which means there's focus on the defensive side of the game. And if we're being honest, going forward, Deluded, we ain't really doing much. So that's why everybody is talking about.
Why do you think that is? Because it's one thing. It's one thing to talk about the injuries. Clearly, we've missed Saka, we've missed Odegaard. We've missed the individual brilliance. Maybe even you could even extend that to the fullbacks, right? But I can't sit here and lie. When these players have been here, a bit like last season, it's hardly like we're creating and we're fit and we're firing on all cylinders in that regard. So, like, what is going on? Is it a personnel thing? Because, and I want to know your thoughts on Moreno as well, because I think Moreno's done very well now, even though he's someone that people have flip-flopped opinions. Declan Rice looked great in the 6. Like, is it a personnel thing? Is it because I hear it, Moreno said we're an NBA team, we've got physicality and things, but is it a case of we just ain't got the tools to be a bit more creative?
So that's the thing. Patterns of play, bro. So I don't know exactly. Patterns of play have so the creativity and patterns of play, you work in units. So the changes. So for example, Martinelli on his side last season compared to as opposed to this season, who was he working with? Last season he was working
every
with
game.
Zinchenko.
It was a different person, man.
Yeah, Zinchenko and Odegaard. Odegaard wasn't on the. He drifts to Saka's side. Who was on the?
We've seen a lot of different partnerships.
Havertz would go in that slot sometimes.
You saw Havertz, you saw Partey, saw Jorginho at a point with Declan Rice in the middle. There wasn't really any solidity on that left-hand side.
So that's the left side. Then we shift to the right side, right? Saka all of last season was working with Ben White on that right side. Ben White and Martin Odegaard. That's that unit. They work as a unit kind of thing. That unit's been disrupted. Ben White's been in and out of the squad lately. Odegaard has barely played this year. Saka's there. We're bleeding in new people. So disrupting the units in the areas of the field that they play together could have something to do with it, with the lack of creativity, personnel problems, and also, bro, the one thing I think we're just not figuring, we're just not even considering, us as Arsenal and Arsenal people. Maybe Arteta's been figured out. Maybe the other teams have just figured out what to do against us.
Yes and
Right?
no,
That
because
could
I
be
think
that could
naturally
be
you'd have to do that. Like naturally, like you are gonna when you play a brand of football, whether it's been Arsene Wenger, whether it's Jose, whether it's Pep, of course you're gonna get figured out. You've got a brand of play. People can go watch the games. Where I disagree is I think Mikel Arteta has got a lot of faults, a lot of things I like and a lot of faults. One thing I like about him, he's always evolving. He's a bit crazy. Like the way we played against City was not the way we played against Spurs or Liverpool, even in the last 2-3 years, whether it's been because of personnel, maybe little things he's seen. I think he's all right. And I think, ironically, this season, I agree, yeah. And I think where you look at it, my problem is, where the title race is concerned is we've dropped a lot of points. Yes, there's been red cards, there's been courageous moments, but the facts are we have dropped points, right? I feel so far this season, it's been a case of last year in that whatever we say about the Liverpool, City or Spurs games, we haven't lost them. It's been Bournemouth, it's been Brighton, it's been them kind of games that should be a walk in the park where we've
same as
slipped up
last
again.
year.
Exactly. And
West Ham,
that's my
Fulham.
biggest problem. Because how many
Yeah.
points do you give? Like, we know City are going to drop points, Liverpool are going to drop points, we're going to drop points again, and the only teams are going to gain a lot of points. And I know on paper, they're like 4 or 5 points clear. How long can we afford to not take advantage of this? Because City aren't going to lose too many. They lost 3 last season, 4
Brother,
even.
That Bournemouth 2-0 result, not the game, the result. So I'm not talking about what happened in the game and all that. That 2-0 result is an absolute disaster. That's a disaster. That 2 days after, I was just thinking back of just not even the performance, just the fact that we lost to Bournemouth away. And this is no disrespect to Bournemouth or whatever. This is
Worst
more
performance of the
from
season so far, man.
from our point of view, our angle. Arsenal, who are meant to be challenging for the title, against a team that has scored 100 points, against a team that just you literally cannot lose a game to beat them in the title charge, and we lost 2-0 away at Bournemouth. It's
Can't afford to have them. I'm not gonna lie though. I don't think we've been terrible this season. I think it's been a mixed bag. I don't feel we're even when everyone's fit that we've been, firing on all cylinders. But I do think that result against Bournemouth has been coming, not because I think we've been bad, but in life you can only get away with so much. Yes, we beat Leicester and Southampton, but there was some hairy moments. Aston Villa, second half, we ran away with it, but we kind of got away with that.
We're not
Brighton,
away,
I'll
bro.
cut us some slack. The Bournemouth one was terrible. There's no positives. Like we were all crap, and that's where I think fans were a bit harsh on Mikel Moreno. As I said earlier, I think Mikel Moreno, and I'd love to know your thoughts on him. I think there's been too much extreme opinions. 1 minute he's the Messiah replacing Xhaka, then he's rubbish. Now he's amazing again. Like, give the guy some time. But where you at, Moreno?
The Moreno thing. If there is an Arsenal, he has a strong opinion on Moreno right now, they're honestly being disingenuous. If there's an Arsenal fan out there that has a strong opinion on Moreno, being completely disingenuous, because we've barely seen him. We've barely seen him, and then he comes in. He comes in that Bournemouth one. That was a big opportunity. The red card happens, that changes the entire way that you're meant to play and all that nonsense.
We should have killed the Brighton game before that, and the Bournemouth one. I do think the 11v11 is a big point, but Brighton, we were trapped with 11 on the field, man.
Brighton, but bro, here's the thing. I
They
get
obviously
that.
changed
We had
games,
11.
yeah.
We had 11 on the field for 30 minutes. We had 11 on the field for 30 minutes, but there's still a football game is 90. There's still another. My Matt's gonna get exposed here. There's still another 60 minutes. There's still another 60 minutes. Lord knows if we had 11 on the field, Lord knows how we would have looked in that 60 minutes. But yeah, Moreno, Moreno, honestly, there should be no one who has a real strong opinion on him because he just hasn't. They just hasn't been enough. There hasn't been enough game time, enough footage for anyone to have a strong opinion. Do I like what I see so far? The Bournemouth thing, I don't count. I don't really count that. The he came on Brighton. It's this last game that he scored, which is good. He's scored
I think
good,
he was good
good
against
start.
Liverpool, man. He
Liverpool.
had that little
But we'll see.
moment where he lost the ball under no pressure, but apart from that, I
Yeah,
think he was
well,
great, man.
we
Obviously,
got
it's
to we
good
got
to
to
score.
see more. I
Yeah,
want to
no, the
see
Drew,
more.
like, yeah.
I'm happy that he got the goal. That should give him confidence. I'm hoping that then gets him to perform better. Do I have a strong opinion on Marino? Absolutely not.
Do you think him and Rice are the first choice partnership, or is it Rice and Partey?
If it's based off merit, my brother, the first name on the list out of the midfield three, if we're picking a midfield three, if it's based off, it doesn't matter what the name on the back of your jersey says. If we're thinking about Arsenal Football Club, what's best for Arsenal Football Club, if we are talking about these eight, if we even include the Champions League games, 10 games that we've played in, based off that, who are we picking in our midfield? The first name in the Arsenal midfield is Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey is the first name in the Arsenal midfield, and then from there, Rice. In my eyes, based off form right now, Partey has the six. Rice and Marino competing for the eight.
It's a weird one because like I just think like I think we need a midfield specialist, and what I mean by that is these lot of specialists. Another thing, I think we need a Santi or a Cess kind of replacement. If I'm honest, man.
Oh, a
Like I think we
technician,
need. I don't think Arteta wants that, but I just think we need that skill set.
a
I do think
technician that's
Partey's great.
more.
I think Rice looked very good against Liverpool. I don't think there's a
I was
coincidence. I
gonna
think
ask you that.
yeah, he's good.
What
No,
do
bro,
you?
he's made a good goal of it in that 8 row. I do think he's made a good goal over
What are
the
you?
eight
Yeah, what
row.
are you? Are you team six, team eight for him? What do you?
For me,
Where are you
my
at
thing
for
is,
Rice?
I think fans we do a bit too much and get hung up
Mm-hmm.
on positions because
Mm-hmm.
there's times where the 6 is going to be further than the 8, and the 8's going to be further than the 6, and you still have to be able to contribute equally. I think with Declan Rice, one thing Arteta wants to do when we lose, you want to win the ball high up the field. Rice gives you that dynamism. That being said, though, bro, where I look at Declan Rice, his statistics in terms of assists and goals, and he is passing a bit more forward and whatnot. That's all improving, but it does for me feel like blood out of a stone. Like, how much is he going to get better in that? You're not going to be Frank Lampard, Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard. That hasn't been you. We signed you for 100 million in your mid-20s off the back of you being West Ham captain, over 200 odd Premier League appearances and however much for England, being that box-to-box ball-winning midfielder. And I personally don't think there's a coincidence
I
with
think
Rice went
he's
back.
trying to mold his way. He's trying to mold into that.
Yeah, be an all-action midfielder, in it. The more complete you can be and do all aspects, great. Because at Arsenal, we play a very different system to West Ham. You still need to be able to pass the ball. You're not going to end up being Rodri. For me, I don't think there's a coincidence, Zara, that you put him in the 6 against Liverpool. He's looking amazing. Yes, he got an assist, but I think his passing, his protection of the defense, I just think he really bossed it. And maybe he looks a bit stronger on the right-hand side, being a natural right footer. I just think Declan Rice is mustard in that 6, man, if I'm
The
honest.
Liverpool game, I was actually more impressed in for the sixth role when he played in the Liverpool game. I was more impressed with his defensive side.
Yeah, that's
His
what I want to see.
closing
Like Moreno
down,
was higher than him,
his
in
closing
which I think
down,
Moreno's got a higher
his
technical level, so it makes sense.
yeah, his shutting down of passing alleys and all that kind of stuff. I really liked how he did very, very defensively. And that's the thing. I don't know. I really don't know what Rice is because I think Partey is playing very well. Partey progressively, that progressive passing. So Partey is losing the physical aspect of it, the physicality of it, the pace, and he's not as fast or as strong as he was. Granted,
He's
he is
clearly
still very
physically
strong.
declining. Naturally, age catches up with
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. And I thought he's doing well in that six. Rice too is also doing well in that six. The eight, Rice, I think probably is better at six than he is at eight, but Partey is doing so well at six that you can afford to put Rice. At 8, I like Rice's energy, and as you said, even in that 8 role, because of his energy, because of the way he plays, he's a box to box guy. He's up pressing high. Then when the ball gets in behind him, he runs and he sprints back and he gets back into that 6 role. So yeah, he may be playing that 8 role, but he'll show up in 6 positions depending on when the game requires. And I don't know. He maybe he's better at 6, but for us maybe he's better for us at 8 because of how Partey's playing. Now if Partey declines, then Rice, boom,
Or,
6.
stop staying fit, fingers and everything crossed. We need Partey to remain fit. Like, this
Yeah.
has been crazy. Because Partey is one of those, I'm sure every player is, but I genuinely think Partey is one of those kind of weird players that he needs to play himself into form. Like, he needs consistent minutes. He's not like, and I'm sure Saka would disagree, but God forbid, Saka can miss 2-3 games. He'll come back. You'll see some sort of level. So it's a weird one, man. And even when you look at our midfield, I think, in terms of being able to do a bits and pieces of everything, I think Moreno's probably got the best skill set, being Spanish and all of that kind of stuff. But I think Partey's more likely to play those difficult passes. That's why, for me,
I want to see his tech a bit more.
I hear that. I think we need an 8, man, because I think you get that 8, you see an even better Odegaard. Like, Odegaard doesn't have to drop deep as much. He's got someone to connect with. You got Martinelli, whoever running down the left. You got Mr. Whoever is inverted left back. And then obviously we're quite solid down the right. We look good on the left. We're a lot more.
Our right side is good.
Yeah, we're a lot less lopsided, really. I wanted to ask you as well, away from that, what have you made of this Mikel Arteta, Pep and Jose stuff? Because 1 minute he's a Cone guy, then he's Pep Guardiola, then he's Jose Mourinho. And what I hate about it, Zara, is I feel it's a bit disingenuous to call him Jose Mourinho. Like, they're not comparing him to Jose Mourinho because Mourinho is a proven winner, done all the great stuff. They're using it to kind of mock negative football. Ultimately, defense wins titles. And we have a question mark around scoring goals, but he's doing his thing. And for me, if you're being compared to Pep or Jose, that's great. Make sure you get the trophies, really and truly. Who better to copy if you want to be a great attacking or defensive manager than them two? But where are you at with that?
Yeah, your media. Let me tell you something, deluded. I thank the Lord I don't live in the UK, man. It's exhausting having Sky Sports News. At least here I have ESPN, and I don't know if
you got CBS and like
I don't know how much you all know about ESPN people like Stephen A. Smith, but I have Stephen A. Smith screaming about nonsense, so I get a break. I get a break from this football stuff. The stuff there, man, especially with Arsenal. It's all of a sudden one defensive game. Oh, they were very defensive against Liverpool. So guess what? Arteta's now.
Even look at the statistics. Both teams had 9 shots on target.
Gabriel scored a header off a corner when Ben White set the pick on the goalkeeper. Oh, Arsenal dark arts. The media in the UK is just so
it's lazy, man.
They are it's lazy. They reach with these whole yes, I know, I get
it's rage bait and clickbait, bro.
To tell a story, but they reach with the narratives. All it was we've just had 1 or 2 defensive performances, and they haven't really worked out. You can't be Mourinho went an entire season conceding 11, 12 games.
Listen, if we do that, ZAH, which I don't think we can.
I want that.
I'm cool for that. Jose won stuff.
Do I buy into the narrative? Absolutely not. Do I want Arteta to be like Mourinho and only concede 13 goals? Absolutely. But it's there it is. Perfect. Jonathan nailed it. It's literally the media runs Twitter agendas because they know that's what gets them. That's what will get people watching. That's what will get their little ref watch clips.
It's rage bait and clickbait and hyper opinions, man.
Retweeted and retweeted, and then the actual proper stuff. The actual proper stuff where they actually say useful stuff, deluded. You know what they do for us? They lock that. They regionally lock it. They lock it so we can't see it. Then the stuff when they're trying to be wind-up merchants, like the ref watch clips for freaking Arsenal.
Doesn't matter what country you're in, you can see it.
They are not geologically locked. Those are unlocked. My cousin at the village back in Zimbabwe was watching that. It's the media there is just it's too much, man.
And it ain't gonna get any. It's not gonna get any better. But what I'd say, and I do think with Arsenal fans, I do think we do this woe is me thing. I do think we cry about refs. I do think we act like the sky is falling. But at the same time, we clearly know there's injustice. We clearly know we're not going to be judged right. We need to stop engaging, and we need to stop seeking. I'm not saying Arsenal fans are seeking validation, but there are a small section, mainly the social media ones, that are seeking validation from people that don't like us or want to
Brother,
give us flowers.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Arsenal fans online do seek validation. Arsenal fans online do seek validation.
Love crying.
You will see them betray their own club just so they can get a fucking high five from some random Man United Twitter guy with 500,000
Facts.
followers and all that. Literally,
And this
it's
is
it's
what and
it,
this is what jars me is man, because I can't see it changing. But I don't. It's human nature. Humans are never going to reply to it. That's why for me, I don't watch Sky Sports and whatnot. Of course, if there's
yeah.
something that people want me to review or speak on, or something that's too good to ignore, I will. Because I feel like you said, there's a lot of agendas, there's a lot of bias, there's a lot of rage baiting. Like even in our line of work, I'm pretty sure you've been around content creators or whatever. They might believe one thing, but once the camera starts, mind games, engagement, it is what it is. We think we need to learn to ignore that. And I'd also add another one, Zara, in this country, if you've had a fairly decent playing career, like, not to get at Roy Keane, but if you're Roy Keane, you can just come out and say
Yep.
nonsense. You can come out and say nonsense. And I think Roy
That's
Keane's right about a lot of stuff, but jarring.
that winds me up.
Boring, man.
That pisses me off. Just because, just because, yes, I get it. I get it. You were captain of this, that. You played in the class of 92 and all that. Brother, just because you say something, it doesn't automatically mean it's correct.
But they say it so many times, it becomes correct. And then one thing I hate is, like, let's just take me, for example. I might just say Arsenal are going to win the Champions League, right? I might just say that. People, and assume it wasn't me, people will run around and say Arsenal fans said they're going to win the Champions League. Like 1 to 10 people speak for everybody where it comes to social media. It's never going to change though, man.
It's a world that we live in, man. It's now I mean, being in this line of work, I know all the tricks. I'm used to it. Sometimes I even actually, you know what? I won't even lie. I'll put my hand up, especially with the ref stuff, just to get a wind up out of people. My refs clips, my clips were the ones where I am honestly, dead honest, 100% of the time, are the Arsenal game reviews. The stuff that I do when I start doing the ref stuff and stuff, some of those are wind up. Those are to wind people up and all that. I mean, but it's all fun and games. But it's what the media does. It's crazy. It's honestly. I mean, then again, it's also here. But bro, your guys here is not as bad as, because even the NFL guys aren't as bad as the. Actually, you know what? The NFL media ain't as bad as the English media is brutal, man.
We're terrible. And even like on the topic of England versus America, because obviously a lot of these guys, they work for many publications. I'll be honest, even someone like Jamie Carragher, the way he speaks on British media
It's
about
very
stuff,
different. Yep.
and when he goes over to you lot, he's a different guy. He's more open-minded. So how much of these guys are being told to play the game a bit? I don't know. My last question for you, Zara, man, with everything we've spoken about, and obviously with what we've seen so far, talk to me about the chances of winning the title now then, man. How confident are you? How you feeling?
All right.
Go ask you, bro.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. Is it still possible? Very much so. Very much so. Do I still believe? Absolutely. I don't buy into this whole you don't know what's gonna happen in the future. I don't buy into this whole, you know what, just because it's City, they're literally gonna do the same things that they've been doing this
You have to
last
at least
4
try,
years,
surely.
5 years. Yeah, of course, you have to try and all that. But I don't buy into the whole to give. I try wait for things to happen. I try live in the moment. I'm not trying to move too far back in the past and bring what's there to now and then apply that now and all. So City is a juggernaut. All that being said, City is a juggernaut. Liverpool, I think Liverpool's going to be there. United, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I don't think United's going to be even with this new
I
guy.
think they'll just be trying to mount a top four run at best, really, and see what they do in the cups.
Yeah, they've done way too much damage to themselves to even come back up. And even this new guy, who knows? I know people are already writing their dissertations and doing YouTube
They
highlight
always knew
clips
about
and
Amarin, man.
I know his system. This guy is
To
the
be fair,
Twitter
he beat us in the
tactical.
Europa League, I'm sure.
No, right, yeah, true. But I mean, the Twitter tacticals are already breaking down. This
Yeah,
guy
now
is
you're bang on the
he's
money.
this kind of manager. He's that kind of manager, brother. Just relax. Let him watch. So and then Chelsea, you know what? I'm starting
I think in the next
keep
3
my eye
years,
open
including
for them.
this year, Chelsea be back.
Keep my eye
I'll be
open.
honest.
All that being said, so considering all that, I think this Liverpool we needed to get the results of the Liverpool game. The Liverpool game would have not only was it big points wise, would have been an extra 2 points. It
It'd have
was
been lovely to
more a
beat City
moral
and
the moral
Liverpool, man.
victory. The moral victory. Sorry.
It would have been lovely to beat Manchester City and
Yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah.
He's leading at either point.
If we had gotten the City one, I think we could have things would have been different right now. We would have been sitting here having a completely different chat. I think if we had gotten the City one, we probably could have gotten on a run and just won the games, all the games between there and then. But the Liverpool, if we had won the Liverpool one, I would have been way more confident than I am now. Previously, the last time we spoke, I was probably like 80-90% we're gonna win.
So where you at now?
Diluted. Now I'm down to about 40-50.
I'm 50. About 55. I think we can mount a run. I think we can do a lot. I just feel personally, we have coped with injuries. I don't think we have enough in the front line. I still think we have this ability to self-capitulate. So yeah, man, I think it's in our hands.
How much do we have to make up right now?
I think City got like 4 or 5
no,
points.
Liverpool's 5, right? Oh no, wait. City's 5 points. Liverpool's 4.
So that's essentially 2 wins starting against Newcastle on Saturday.
5-point gap this early.
And I think we've already got to that scenario. While technically we've taken points off the two the two people we're fighting for the title.
That's
You're hoping on City to drop points. I think City need to lose a couple. They need to lose more than they did last season. Clearly, they lost 3-4 times, including once against us. I think we need that. I think it's City. Liverpool are still there, Arsenal is still there, but I think it's City you need to see drop points.
Yeah, and they could have.
They're not playing amazing, but they're getting the results.
Bro, Cameron Archer almost got me to break my freaking ankle, bro. I
can't believe you're still at that point of watching the City games, hoping they drop points.
Celebrating.
You gotta wait. You just gotta watch it. You just gotta watch the result, bro, and see they've lost. We've been here when Brentford took the lead. Oh, it might be the day. Nah, bro.
It's 7 a.m.
Pep's a villain, man.
8 a.m. in the morning. A Saturday morning, I'm here in my apartment. I have nothing else to do, bro. I just have to run the TV. I guess I was mid-air, then freaking Archer skies it over to left foot. I was, oh man.
Them man don't slip up, man. Like I think Pep just needs to leave.
It's we're not doing ourselves any favors by dropping points late.
This is what I mean.
That's what made me drop from I went from 80% to 40-50% just because of that one Mohamed Salah goal. Literally.
And you look at our runs, man. We got Newcastle now, Chelsea. I know it's not the Premier League, but Inter. We got some big games now, and for me, I'm at that point
between. Yeah, holy shit, I forgot about Champions.
And I'm at that point now. Yeah, like again, I'm not to say we won't lose big games, but I'm quote unquote confident in our performance in theory going into Newcastle, going into Chelsea. It's the West Ham aways, Nottingham Forest. These kind of the ones on paper that should be a walk in the park. These are the banana skins.
And it's honestly the trend seems to continue because look, we did, granted we didn't win, but we didn't lose against City or what's it called. So it's literally then we lost to Bournemouth. So it's a small banana. The banana peel games that you got to worry about, man. But listen, before we hop off here, Deluded, I just wanted to let you know that I actually might be in London during the month of December. So hopefully I can see you at one of these games.
Yeah, man, link up, man.
One of these how hard are tickets? Are tickets tough to get?
Oh, it's like a needle in a haystack, man. It's a needle in a haystack, especially when you go via the legit route, like of actually buying it. It all depends on the game, man. Like there might be some low level games with free tickets, but for spare tickets, but the Man United, etc. madness.
My Arsenal people in the chat, I am in the market for Arsenal tickets in the month of December from the Monaco game onwards. So Monaco, Everton. So this is both home and away.
To be fair, the Ipswich tickets
Everton.
are probably out now. You know, you got a good chance. Wait, are you here on the 27th of December?
That is the last game. That's actually my birthday. That's the last game. That's
Happy
the last
birthday,
game I'll be seeing.
Do you know what? I think you got a good chance of getting Ipswich Town tickets, you know.
So any one of those games up until the Ipswich game, if you're selling, please
Let the guy know.
My DMs. I'm more than willing to desperate. Some of us, because we don't live over there, we're desperados. So I'm willing to, and don't take me for a ride now. I'm willing to drop as much as it requires for me to get in that stadium,
bro. It's tough living in the United Kingdom, man. The budget came out, you know, they're robbing the people. Don't tempt people with money, man.
That's the thing, bro. That's the thing. They're so impossible to track down, one, and then they're so expensive. But it's like, for us that don't live there, the one chance I'm doing, instead of going home, instead of going to Zimbabwe to go do my work permit, I'm doing it in London. So the one chance I have some time in there, it's like, you know, you want to make the most of it. See the boys.
ZAH, appreciate you for being tuned in. Again, people, help the man out with the tickets. DM. So yeah, man. Let people know they can find you once again, man. Because you don't promote yourself.
At the Midget Zimbo on all the socials. I'm also doing a thing, the soccer thing with a few of the people here. Pitch Picks. We're on the Barstool. They've moved us. We're on the Barstool Gambling YouTube page now. So look out for that. Pitch Picks at the Midget Zimbo. Elsewhere, Deluded as usual, my brother. I can't thank you enough.
No, man, big up you for giving me your time, man. Look at the time. The time zone is different. It's early in the morning there, man. So I appreciate it.
There's very few people I really enjoy talking Arsenal with, and you're one of them. I will always have time for you, my brother.
Nah, the feeling's mutual, man. You're part of the furniture here, man. So yeah, ZAH, it's always a great one. Hopefully the next time we chat, we're in even more positive spirits.
Bigger smiles, right? Bigger smiles.
Man. Yeah, man. Let's go. Hopefully, man. Hopefully, it'd be nice to win against the top six. I don't include Spurs. Again, people, you know where to find ZAH. Again, he's told you everything. Everything will be in the description. Yeah, I'll be back later, people. I think we play at 7:45, so I'll be doing a watch along for 6:45. I'm off to the gym quickly. So yeah, man. What you say?
I didn't even check if they're showing that here on TV.
You should. There's more likely you lot getting in America than us in England.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Whew.
See, you're all right, man. So yeah, people, let us know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace. Come on. Like